on a cloudy but warming up. You can see the end of winter, Dustin. It's a Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. Welcome to the Bull and Fox edition here in the Bullpen, brought to you by Bet Rivers. We're changing the clocks in 2 weeks. It was a 50-degree day yesterday. I'm starting to feel it. Spring is right around the corner.
Well, there's no one that loves the conversation about darkness versus light and sunset, sunrise, that whole thing. However, that's changed quite a bit now that we're not on the radio till 7:00 at night, and we had to fight through our winter blues, the depression of Ohio, and walking out to our car when it's pitch black out. So, but no, it is nice. Even when we're not working at 7:00, it's nice to be able to, those 4:30 sunsets were brutal, man. It's like the day is gone by the time you get out of bed.
I know. And it's like we're already getting like 6:30. So in 2 weeks, we'll be to 7:30. It'll be beautiful. All right. We got a lot to get to today here in the Bullpen on this Bull and Fox edition. If you're not a subscriber already, please do so. Hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you any money. So you could join us. We got some announcements coming up in the next month of some new things we'll be doing. So stick around for that. Make sure you join Bet Rivers. We'll have some info on that coming up as well. Later, the Cavs win again by 40 points without Darius Garland, with Donovan Mitchell having not much of a game. But we begin with the Browns because Andrew Berry, the much criticized by me and others, GM of the Browns, spoke yesterday at the Combine. Dustin, you've been to the Combine many times. You went as a player. Yep. You've been there many times as a media member. All the GMs and coaches speak. What is the atmosphere like at the Combine from a player's perspective and then from a media perspective?
It's all business. It's from a player's perspective. It's super regimented. Like you just, you're up early in the morning. They got you going, boom, boom, boom throughout the day. There's an itinerary for you. There's meetings with coaches that happen in the evening. It's an exhausting few days as a player. There's nothing really fun about it,
right,
other than the experience when you're done with it. You know what I mean? You can look back and say, I've been through that. It's not like boot camp or in the military or anything like that. But I mean, it's a very challenging, mentally taxing few days as a player that I definitely, remember going back to my days when I went back in 2005. Now, from a media standpoint,
hold on before you get to the media standpoint. I just want to kind of react to what you said there, because it's just obviously it's tiring and exhausting. Part of it's got to be the stress.
Yes.
Like, listen, a guy like Travis Hunter, okay, maybe there's no stress there. He knows he's going to be a top 5 pick. But for most players, there's some guys that, I don't know, it could be a second-round pick, could be a fourth-round pick. You could be a third or a sixth. You could be a fourth or undrafted. I mean, that could be the difference between a career and not. So that stress for most of the guys there, that's, your ability to overcome that stress has got to be tough.
Oh, my God. I mean, knowing that whatever you run the 40-yard dash in could determine your career.
Yeah.
Dollars on the line. I mean, the performance anxiety that goes into it is huge. I remember how nervous I was going into the 40-yard dash. And then, the player drills that you have to do. You got the vertical, the broad jump. In fact, dude, I was so worked up, with anxiety. I ran the 40. Did my my vertical, and both of those were really, really good, off the charts good. It helped me. But then by the time I got through our team drills, dude, I was so amped up that I was in a full body cramp, and I wasn't dehydrated or anything. It was just such a an emotional roller coaster where I actually just didn't finish the workout. I didn't finish the broad jump. And there was a couple other agility runs that I didn't do too. I just did those in my pro day, because I was locked up. But thankfully I got my 40-yard dash in, which was the most important thing, and ran well there. But no, it's a taxing day in terms of the workout. And for me, when I was there, we got, you do all these meetings and things, and physicals and rechecks and X-rays, MRIs, you name it. and that's all done before you actually work out, right? So you
Right.
think
Yeah.
you're just going to the combine to have this workout and knock that thing out. No, 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 no. You got to do all these other things that are like a distraction and take your mind off of, really the most important thing I thought was going there to work out.
Right.
And yet I'm sitting there just, up at 5 in the morning and going through these doctor visits, and then they're like, oh, I think we see something there on the left fifth metatarsal, so we got to get you back in for another MRI. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it was really, really crazy because every team's doctor was there, and
Right.
if one team didn't like something that they saw, they just run you through the gamut time and time again.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, by the time it was over, like, I felt like I needed a vacation. I
Yeah.
got home like, whew,
Yeah.
that was like really exhausting.
Right. All right. So then you went back a number of times as a member of the media. That obviously a lot less stressful and
Yeah.
fun, hanging out with some of the other guys at night. But what's that experience like from the
Yeah,
opposite end?
it's funny. It's more buttoned up.
Yeah.
It's closer to the draft, so there's not as much buddy buddy going on like there is
Okay.
at the Senior Bowl. Now, the
Right.
Senior Bowl has certainly changed a little bit now that they've changed venues from being, right there in downtown Mobile to now out at South Alabama. But that one is to me more fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's, not as stressful. The season just ended. You still got the playoffs going on, Super Bowl, all of those things. But this season's over. I mean, you got
Yeah.
the new coaches are in the building.
Right.
All these players are there. There's jobs on the line. There's not much more, like I said, buddy buddy around the combine.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as much, going out at night and see guys with a lot of smiles on their faces. It's way
Right.
more business than the Senior Bowl, and things just start to ramp up more and more here as we approach the next couple of months. Free agency in March, and then of course the draft in April.
Speaking of the draft, Andrew Berry was asked about Travis Hunter, and he said that he sees, and you see the quote there, he sees Travis Hunter as a receiver primarily first, working him in as a defensive back. I know on UCSS last week, you and Tyvis both talked about, hey, maybe he'd be better off playing corner and
Mm-hmm.
then doing some plays on offense because it's a little easier to jump in and out of offense than it is in defense. On the other hand, obviously, Andrew Berry talked about it. The guy's got amazing hands. He's good with the ball, and he's going to help you score a lot more on the offensive side than he would on the defensive side. So did you find this surprising or not at all that Andrew Berry said this?
I mean, everyone's got their opinions on what their thoughts are on Travis Hunter, how they're going to deploy him with whatever team he ends up going to. The guy's got to touch the football. There's no doubt. When you can score that many touchdowns and you can be that explosive of a player, you don't just not put the ball in that guy's hands. It's too difficult to find guys to score touchdowns. So because he can play
Right.
defense really well doesn't mean you can't find a way or a place for him on both sides of the ball. I think you got to be strategic about it. I don't think that you can play him 100 and whatever snaps a game like you did in college, because he's a human, and eventually, Father Time will catch up. And if you want that player to be healthy throughout his career and be a great player, you can't just be running these tires, that thin early in this guy's career. So it'll be interesting to see. I think he can play both, obviously, but I'm not putting him at receiver, Adam, for more than 20 snaps a game maximum. I
Yeah.
think I play him mostly defense, and then
Yeah.
pick your spots on those big moments where you get him in the game, and certainly special teams too. I'd have him on all the returns, and especially the kickoff returns. Now you can put your best player back deep.
Yeah, it's gonna be fascinating to see what whoever drafts him, what he ends up. One other thing on the draft I want to hit on before we move to some of Barry's other comments and then get to the Cavs. I've in the last kind of 48 hours, I'm kind of trending, and again, I fully admit all the time I'm no expert at breaking down. I didn't study the film on Cam Ward, but I know you've liked him more than Shador Sanders. And Greg Cosell, listening to him talk about Cam Ward, and then listening to him talk about Shador, and he didn't hate Shador Sanders. He actually said he thought Shador Sanders would be a solid NFL quarterback. But I think in this NFL, like, yeah, okay. I mean, Cam Ward, let's say Shador Sanders is a Derek Carr or Andy Dalton type quarterback, a guy who could play in the league for a long time. That's fine. That raises your floor. but you're not winning a Super Bowl with that kind of quarterback. Now, maybe that's unfair for me to put him there, but I just respect Greg Cosell's analysis of the tape so much. And when he said that he thinks Cam Ward is a guy that would be, right there with some of the quarterbacks from last year. And he said he might have him ahead of Bo Nix, ahead of, McCarthy. And Bo Nix was so impressive as a rookie. It seems like, they're certainly, when you draft a quarterback like Cam Ward, there is some bust potential. There's definitely a possibility. But he's done it for more than 1 year, which I like. I don't like the Mitch Trubisky's who played 1 year essentially in college, and that was it. Like, this guy's played, and you've talked about the different levels. I'm kind of all in on Cam Ward now. I feel like the Browns should do what it takes to get Cam Ward. Now, ultimately, if Tennessee wants him, they're going to get him, and that's that. But even if the Browns, and I think you brought this up as a possibility a few weeks ago here, I feel like even if the Browns have to trade up to 1, which you probably wouldn't have to give up that much, I would do it. I think Cam Ward should be the pick for the Browns.
I've been saying that for a while.
Yeah.
Now, at the end of the day, who knows who turns out to be the better quarterback in the league? But I like Cam's prospects. I like the way I don't know, man. He just looks natural playing the quarterback position. I think he's a player that can be a transcendent type of guy. Given the opportunity, put in the right system where they build around him, I do think that he can be a heck of a pro. I think there's just too many red flags with Shedeur, and it has nothing to do with him as a player. I think he's a good player. I'm just nervous about everything, about the Deion side of things, about how little he is in terms of his size, his physique. The guy was sacked a million times in college. How's his body going to hold up in the NFL? There's just a lot of questions I have. More questions. I've got questions with Cam Ward as well, just not quite as many. And with the Browns having that number 2 pick and potentially being able to pick the best quarterback in this draft, I think Cam Ward just is slightly ahead of where Shedeur is in my estimation. And to your point, Adam, you're 100% right. I think that whatever Greg Cosell says, I'm buying. And I've been buying his stock for over a decade now. And the guy's right more than he's wrong about what he sees on tape. Now, he may not know if the player has got issues at home and fighting with his girlfriend. Those are things that Greg Cosell takes out of the equation. He doesn't look at those things. He looks at just the tape, strictly the football side of things. And from that standpoint, Cam Ward passes all of those tests.
Yeah, and I like he's not. He's 6'2". I don't know. We'll see what he officially has. They haven't done the official measurements yet, have they?
Not positive. I don't think so. Yeah. Those are usually in the mornings, though. So, when are the quarterbacks going?
I'm not sure, but okay. I don't know that he's any taller than Shedeur, but he's definitely thicker, in a good way. Not like fat, just like he's got a little meat on the bones. And I agree with you. Yeah. Like Shedeur has a good reputation in terms of being able to read defenses and stuff like that. I definitely don't think Shedeur. I think they're both going to be in the NFL and starting quarterbacks. The question is who's got more upside, and it just seems like Cam Ward does. They both have a lot of experience. I mean, Shedeur Sanders has started 15 games in college, and Cam Ward has started 57 games in college. That's crazy. A
lot.
Man. I mean, that's, and his completion percentage, when you would think it might go down going as he continued, like he played better competition as his career went on, and yet his numbers got better. He had his best completion percentage of his college career this season. He had the best yards per attempt this season of his career. Not the most touchdowns. In Incarnate Word, he did have 47 touchdowns. But if you look at interceptions per game, least amount, quarterback rating, best, even rushing yards, and he's not a big runner, but that was the best. So he got better every year in college, even though the competition was getting better because he went from, what's Incarnate Word, Division II, or what is that? Or
it's FCS.
Okay. So he went from FCS to Washington State, right? That was in the Pac-12. Yep. Mm-hmm. Not a great, and then he goes in his last year and he's playing in the ACC. So the competition just got better every year, and yet he got better every year, which I like also.
Yeah, I
So
like
there's a
that
lot
too.
to
And
like about it.
also, it's not easy to play at the U. You know, that's a program that has high
Sure.
standards. They've won, and he was the first quarterback, really, I think, since like the early 2000s to take them to double digit wins.
Yep.
So pretty impressive that he was able to do that in just one season. I don't really care about the whole bowl game fiasco media
Oh my
circus
God,
that people wanted to talk
that
about.
was
I
ridiculous.
don't really care. I mean, he didn't. If you're not playing the college football playoff, I really don't care if you participate
Yeah.
in the
And his
postseason.
teammates knew it. It wasn't like he just did it out of the blue. The team knew what was happening.
Yep.
I haven't heard anybody from Miami say a bad word about the guy. We know Bernie
No.
loves him. So, anyway, a couple other things I wanted to hit on with Andrew Berry. He doubled down on the. I mean, he every time he talks, it's the third time since the season's ended that he's talked, and each time he's made it very clear. He's saying, "I'm not trading Myles Garrett. I'm not trading." And we keep saying, "Yeah, yeah, 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 yeah." Is there any part of you that believes him, like that they wouldn't trade him at all, no matter what? I don't, but maybe I'm wrong.
Um, I mean, I guess it all depends on what the owner's thoughts are. If the owner's telling Andrew Berry, like, "Hey, man, like we're not trading this dude. I
Yeah,
don't care what. I mean, I don't want to trade Myles Garrett no matter what. Like
yeah,
the Browns can play hardball if they want to.
sure,
I don't know that it's going to behoove them in the long term, and certainly probably not going to help that locker room if you've got a guy who's disgruntled, who's your best player in the locker room, doesn't want to be here. I hope that his mindset wouldn't quite be like that if he were here, but you
yeah,
never know.
right,
So who the hell knows at this point, Adam?
yeah,
We know that Miles has laid all of his cards on the table. He's made it very clear what his intentions are, where he wants to be, and where he doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to be in
yeah,
Cleveland anymore. I just think that ship has sailed. And with the Browns saying all these things about them not trading him,
yeah,
I mean, maybe they're trying to drive up the price for what somebody offers, and somebody comes
right,
in and just blows them out of the water. Okay, if that's the case, great.
yeah,
We'll take it.
yeah.
If somebody wants to give a king's ransom for Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I agree. And I do think they'll eventually trade him, but you're right. They don't have to. His only recourse then would be to hold out, and I think that's unlikely in the end if the Browns forced his hand that he would do that because he. Now, some people think there's a chance this has to do with money. That he's really that if the Browns made him a financial, let's say they offered him, I don't know, $40 million a year, which he'd be the highest paid. Yesterday the Bengals GM said, "Hey, we're going to make Jamar Chase the highest paid non-quarterback in the league." Well, what if the Browns made Myles Garrett the highest paid non-quarterback in the league? You think he changed his mind? They offer him $40 million a year, $42 million a year, some
I don't.
crazy amount.
I don't necessarily think this is about money
Yeah,
because
I don't think
Myles
so
Garrett
either.
is going to get made. He's going to be a made man no matter where he goes.
Right, that's true. Good point.
Now,
Yeah,
whether it's the highest paid or whatever, like if there's a few million off here or there, the guy's going to be making hundreds of millions of dollars in his
yeah,
next contract. So I just don't think money is a factor at this point in time. The guy's got all the money in the world. He's going to make all the money in the world for the rest of his life, basically.
right.
Uh, I don't know. I think he wants to win.
Yeah, I think there's like a 1% chance this has to do with money, and that's because we've talked about this. The only thing that Jimmy Haslam has done well as an owner is he's not afraid to spend money. So if Myles Garrett was just using this as leverage to get the largest contract ever, I don't think that would be a necessary way to do it because Jimmy Haslam has shown you time and time again that he'll pay guys. He doesn't care how much he spends. So if Myles Garrett went to the Browns and said, "Hey, I'll stay, but you guys got to pay me," like before he had asked for a trade, if he had gone and said, "Hey, I'm going to stay, but you guys got to pay me $43 million a year for 5 years, guaranteed. I want $200 million, or 150 has to be guaranteed." I bet the
Sure.
Browns would have done it,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
right? So,
Oh yeah.
so I agree with you. I don't think this has anything to do with money. A couple other quickies here. Um, it was weird because obviously JOK had a great 2023 season, breakout year, maybe the best draft pick of Andrew Berry's tenure. And he gets off to another good start last year, and then he gets hurt. And at first, it didn't seem like a big deal, but then we just never heard anything about him. And then I remember Mary Kay saying, "Well, they're a little concerned about his future." And I was like, "Well, where did this come from?" And now Andrew Berry yesterday says, hey, we don't know if he's going to be able to play. This is beyond football, and obviously we miss him from a football standpoint. Very scary stuff here, Dustin, with JOK.
No, it really is. It's disappointing that one of your best players may not be able to return to the game. But I'm not selfish, and I'm not gonna be a selfish fan and be like, man, this guy, whatever. It stinks. I really hope that the guy's gonna be okay because he is such a talent and such a nice young man, bright kid.
Yeah.
Got a lot of good things in front of him. So I hope that he's gonna be all right. Being an ex-player myself and dealing with some head trauma stuff throughout my career and post career, I understand how devastating it can be at times. So it's concerning, and if I'm a Browns fan, I'm very concerned too. And the Browns may be forced to look in other areas to try and find a replacement. Unfortunately, I just think you kind of have to because the future's uncertain at this point with JOK.
Speaking of an uncertain future, last thing on the Browns, I know he's my favorite Brown. This could be the end of Nick Chubb as a Cleveland Brown. He, of all players that have played for this team in recent years, I like seeing him in another uniform would be hard to take. But Andrew Berry said, and we know Nick Chubb obviously has missed a ton of time the last 2 years, and when he played last year, he clearly didn't look like the same player. I think the hope is that another year off the surgery, he can get back to that. But he's, for a running back, he's a little old at this point, so who knows what he's got left in the tank. We've seen a lot of great running backs go from all-pro to out of the league in 2 years. I mean, it's happened many, many times at that position more than any other. And maybe, he doesn't get a big offer from anybody, which he won't, and maybe he ends up circling back. But it would be tough for the fans to see Nick Chubb if he's in another uniform, especially if it was like somebody in this division. But I think seeing him in any other uniform is going to be just another kick in the nuts for the fans.
Oh, there's no doubt. But here's my question.
Yeah.
What happened to everything that we talked about last year about, the letter that Nick Chubb wrote?
Yeah.
The Players Tribune thing and, the Browns saying all these great things about Nick Chubb. And I don't know. Are we sure that this is definitely going to happen? That he's not going to be back? I mean, I know what Andrew Berry said yesterday.
Yeah.
But I just always assumed that, like all along, the Browns would just take care of their guy, no matter what.
And here's the thing. Now, maybe they've offered him
I don't know. By the way, I understand the business side of things. And if I'm the Browns, like, I kind of look at Nick Chubb and think that he's washed at this point.
Right.
Unfortunately, I mean, not washed he's a great teammate, leader, all those things that you want out of a Cleveland Brown. But in terms of on the field production, that wasn't there this past season. Now, maybe he gets it back as he gets healthier. Hopefully that would be the case. But I just assume that the Browns would give him another look and he would be happy to take even maybe a discount to stay here.
Yeah, and maybe I guess it's possible they offered him a discounted deal and he just said, I want to see what's available out there. But I find that hard to believe because Nick Chubb is a smart guy. Like, nobody's offering him significant money in free agency. No. I mean, like, he's just it's 2 years since he was a superstar. And at his age, he's more likely to not be one now than he is to be one still. So I get that Derrick Henry's still great at his age, but Derrick Henry isn't coming off an injury at this time of his career. So I can't imagine he's getting – I mean, there'll be teams interested in Nick Chubb, sure, but at a very low base salary, I got to imagine. So you'd think the Browns would offer him something.
Nick Chubb could you think Nick Chubb? Sorry, Adam. You think he could use a change of scenery too? Maybe to not have to be the feature back, to not feel the pressure of because like for a while he was the bell cow in Cleveland. He carried the workload. He carried the Browns, I thought, in a lot of ways on his back. And for him to maybe not be the same player, and for us to not see the same player. Yeah. Maybe it would be better for him in his career to go somewhere else and not have to be the feature back. Maybe you split time with a younger dude. You kind of do like what Kareem Hunt did. I mean, Kareem Hunt got a lesser workload and obviously found the end zone quite a bit with the Chiefs this past season.
Yeah, I would think.
And that's what Chubb's good at. Chubb's good at finding the end zone.
Absolutely. I would think that he would be perfect whether it's here or anywhere else, as a 1B back. That's the fourth down / goal line guy,
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, there's younger, fresher backs. That's just a position. I mean, you played it as a kid, so you know. I mean, that's just a position.
Oh, yeah.
More than any other position, it is a young man's position, running back, with very few exceptions. Again, Derrick Henry, ridiculous what he did this past year at his age. But it's just, most of that churns. The best running back churns so often, every few years. And Nick Chubb was one of the best running backs in the league for a while, and now he's probably more of a complementary piece that can still be valuable on the goal line and on a fourth down or a third and short, short yardage situations. And maybe he does want to be maybe he wants to win just like Myles Garrett, but he's going to not obviously make it public, and he's a free agent, so he doesn't need to. Maybe the Browns did say, Nick, hey, we'll give you $5 million or whatever. And he's like, you know what, guys, I'm going to see what's out there. But he would never make it public like other guys would, because it's just not his style, obviously.
No, it's certainly not his style. I really just hope the guy gets back to being healthy and can play the game at a pretty high level. Maybe he's never the same player that he was, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But to be able to go out there and rush for, maybe 1,000 yards again and find the end zone a dozen times or 10 times, that would be awesome to see for him, because he deserves it. No one works harder than that guy.
Yeah.
And nobody's had to battle more adversity throughout his football career, probably, in terms of injuries, than Nick Chubb, not just in the pros, but going back to college. And this guy, think about the amount of time that Nick Chubb has had to put into rehab. He has spent more time with athletic trainers than he probably has his teammates. This guy knows how to handle it, and man, he is prepped for life, dude. That guy can handle anything that comes his way.
No doubt. All right, let's wrap things up with the Cavaliers, Dustin. A 40-point win over a solid Orlando Magic team that
a
gave
playoff Magic team,
Yeah, and they gave the Cavs all they wanted last year in the playoffs. They beat them by 40. No Darius. Donovan Mitchell had, I want to say, 3 points at halftime, maybe 5. He had 11 for the game. But again, it's the Ty Jerome show. 20 points on 7 of 12. He was 4 of 6 from 3. How about this? Max Strus, DeAndre Hunter, and Ty Jerome combined went 13 for 18 from 3 and scored 54 points between them. That's their 5th, 6th, and 7th best players. That's pretty impressive.
The Ty Jerome show is becoming must-see TV.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're not a Cavaliers fan and you haven't watched the Cavs play all year, and all of a sudden you're just going to tune in to the games that are on TNT or in the playoffs, you're going to be like, dude, who is this little, it looks like a white dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he's I think he's
3/4 white. He's 3/4 white.
Okay, so but
I'm saying it like it's
point. I know.
His dad is mixed race, and his mom's
so
white.
I got to give dad some love too here. So, but point being, like, people are like, this guy just like a little white dude,
right.
And he's just a baller. Just a flat out baller, like, plays with such confidence. He's not scared of the moment, not scared of big shots. The game, 2 nights ago, was it 2 nights ago?
It was Monday, I think.
Yeah.
No, it was Sunday. Well, it was Sunday.
Thank you. The Grizzlies game.
Yes, Sunday.
When he scored like 20 in a row.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. Yeah. And then he backs it up again last night. I was thinking about taking it like his prop unders, which was like 14.5 points or something. Yeah, he scored 20. Yeah. Like, the guy just.
He's been unbelievable. They shot almost 60% from 3. They've been the best 3-point shooting team. They're second in the league in scoring, only behind Memphis. You look at their last 3. Yeah.
They held a team to 82 points at home, and they're a playoff team.
I hear you. And they're not a great offensive team, but still, 82. That's like 95 basketball. I mean, it's just ridiculous. They and the Magic are a good defensive team, and the Cavs scored 122 against them. So And you know what the thing that's interesting to me is they've won these last 3 games. They destroyed the Knicks on Friday, won a hard-fought battle against Memphis on Sunday, and then they destroyed the Magic. All 3 are playoff teams. Memphis and the Knicks are top 6 or 8 teams in the league. All 3 of those teams are very big. And the Cavs have struggled at times with some big teams, but they did not struggle at all. Evan Mobley is like, at times he's playing point center or point power forward. He had another good game, 17 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 blocks. I mean, the Cavs are 100% a championship contender. They have a 6-game lead over Boston with 24, I think, to go. They're playing the Celtics Friday, which is going to be huge. I think there's almost no chance the Cavs are not going to be the 1 seed. And by the way, Oklahoma City lost yesterday, so they have a 1.5 lead over them for the top overall seed if they did play them in the finals. But if they beat Boston on Friday, that's it. 1 seed's in the bag. That's the last shot for Boston to get the 1 seed. Even if Boston wins, I still think the Cavs will get the 1. But if the Cavs beat them, go up by 7, that's a wrap, I think.
Oh yeah, no, I think this is going to be a wrap. I'm excited to see the Cavs hopefully have this home court advantage throughout the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah,
and I mean, they can I don't want to see them like cruise to the end of the season, but it'll be nice to be able to feel like, all right, what's next? We just got to get ourselves ready, healthy, lock in our rotations, all those things that are important, and then let's make a run.
Third best odds still at plus 700.
It's really the right odds.
It's a great
right
bet.
Odds.
I mean, folks, go on Bet Rivers right now. I would highly recommend the Cavs at plus 700. I mean, that's just, I'm surprised it's still so high. No, listen, Boston, even with the Cavs having the home court advantage, Boston deserves to be favored in that series. I get it, but not by a lot. I mean, that's, and if the Cavs beat Boston, I just can't see them losing in the finals. I could be wrong, certainly, but by the way, listen to this.
It feels like it's our year, man.
Oh yeah, listen to this. The Cavs started the season, as we know, 15-0, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they lost a couple games. They went 3-3 or something like that. So after they had a little slump after the 15-0 start, then they went on a 16 out of 17 run. So they went 16-1. Then they had that other little slump in January where I think they lost 4 of 7. And since then, they've now won 8 in a row and 12 out of 13. So the Cavs have had 3 stretches already this year where they've won at least 12 out of 13 games, if not better, 3 times. I can't imagine there's many teams in the history of the NBA that have done that, and they have a chance to do it again or extend this one. It's just incredible. Like, when they're on these runs, it feels like they can't be beat. But the only game they've lost.
I don't see them losing many games, man. No. I'm surprised when they lose. I'm surprised when they're in tight games in the fourth quarter.
I know. I think they've only lost 1 game this season. I got to double check this. But I believe they've only lost 1 game the entire season where they were leading at the start of the fourth quarter.
Wow.
I got to double check that, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. So the Cavs they played 58 games, so they have 24 left. Can they go 22-2 and win 70 games? What do you think? Percentage chance of that? That'd be tough.
Percentage chance of that?
Yeah.
I'd say it's 5%.
5%. I'll give it a 5%. But even that, like any other team going 22-2, you'd say 0%.
Correct.
Now their most wins ever was what, 67 with LeBron? I got to double check that. I can't remember if it was 67 or 68. I'm going to look it up here. They won, 66. The Cavs' most wins ever with LeBron in the 2008-2009 season. They went 66 and 16 that year. I think they're going to beat that, don't you? So they need to win 67. Yeah. They'd have to go.
It's going to be close, though. It's going to be close.
They got to go 19-5 to set the franchise mark for wins.
I don't want to even think about it, man. I don't want to think about it.
All right. Well,
I wanted just to play.
That's our fair. That's fair.
Because we know, I mean, the Warriors were like, I don't know if they were chasing that, but and they didn't win, we know.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, I just don't need. That's not an important thing.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's a cool thing. It's
right.
a cool thing. You'd love to have that, but if it happens, great. But
It's not,
I would not put much. I wouldn't change any rotations to try to get those extra wins.
No, they're not going to do that. And in fact, once they lock up the top seed in the East, maybe when they lock up the top seed overall against Oklahoma City, and the thing is though, anyway, Kenny Atkinson has been so smart with guys' minutes this season anyway. Like, nobody's playing crazy minutes for the Cavs. Let me see. You know who's leading the Cavs in minutes per game?
I'd probably say Mobley.
No, he's actually third, but it's close. Donovan Mitchell's actually leading the team in minutes per game. Yeah, you want to guess how many minutes he's playing?
I'm going to say like 34.
Not even close. 31. I mean, how good is that? He's only playing 31. You got your three best players.
What's crazy though, didn't he play like 37 minutes a game last year?
Oh, I'll look at it right now. Last year he played 35. That's a big drop.
Yeah,
so,
dude.
Donovan's playing 4 less minutes per game. Darius played 33 last year. Is playing 30. Mobley's played 31. He's playing 30. I mean, everybody's down in minutes. Jared Allen is playing 28 and a half minutes a game. Last year, he played 32 minutes a game. Max Strus, last year, 32 minutes a game. This year, 25. I mean, everybody's minutes are down. Everybody. Obviously not Ty Jerome, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, Ty Jerome didn't play last year, but all their guys, they're just playing less minutes. So guys are going to be pretty. I want to compare that to Boston. Like how many minutes are their guys playing? So the Cavs this year, Donovan's playing 31 a game, Darius 30, Evan 30, and Jarrett, I'll say 29. It's like 28 and a half, but 29. For Boston, Jason Tatum is playing 36 and a half minutes a game. Jaylen Brown, 35, and Derek White's playing 34. That adds up. Plus, they had to play, they played to all the end of the season last year. So you would think the Cavs are going to be a lot fresher in an Eastern Conference Finals than the Celtics. I don't know if that matters in the end, but can't hurt.
Plus 700.
Yeah, that's right. Love it. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Next week, we'll be back on Thursday at 9 a.m. Make sure, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the YouTube page, The Bullpen. Dustin and I on every Thursday at 9. This is a special Wednesday edition because Dustin's going away tonight. Where you going? I forgot.
I'm going on the Buckeye cruise.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You leaving tonight or tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow morning flight's at 5. We set sea tomorrow afternoon.
How many of your buddies going to be on there? Do you know who's
going? A lot. I don't know the exact number, but it's, 20 guys probably.
Yeah. All right. Well, have fun. When do you get back? Next Monday or Tuesday?
I get back next Wednesday.
Okay, perfect.
So I get back and then I'm with you on here and then UCSS next Thursday, Friday, I believe.
Sounds good. All right, man. Thanks to Max and Z for producing. We'll talk to you next time. Where else but right here with Bull and Fox in the Bullpen, brought to you by Bet Rivers. See you, everybody.